Hello and welcome to Falcon Blues TV. I'm Callum Davis here with your match preview for this week's game where Everton will be hosting Southampton. It's a night match under floodlights at Goodison Park, an 8pm kickoff on Monday the 1st of March. It's going to be shown on Sky Sports for those of you who don't already know. And before we get into the video, if you wouldn't mind going down, liking, subscribing, we'd really appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Everton's form going into this game is nothing short of a little bit patchy. It's disappointing, especially to see us be so poor at home. However, when looking at Everton's form, it's impossible to overlook the most recent result, that famous 22-year win at Anfield. And I think it's come at such a good time in the season in that it can be used as a springboard for the rest of the season. It was Graham Sharp, I think, who came out recently to say that in '85, when we won the league, his goal and their result, the 1-0 at Anfield, which obviously I wasn't alive to see, but that was what helped them push on to win the title. He said that gave them the belief to go on for the rest of the season. And I'm not saying we're going to go and win titles or anything this season, but why can't it help us push into Europe or even Champions League spots? It's there for the taking this season, and it'd be such a shame if we were to fall at the hurdle of home games, a place where Everton are normally safe to get their points, and it's away where we struggle. It would be just unforgiving if we gave up this opportunity where we're finally good away from home and let ourselves down by being so poor at home. Southampton's last league win, coincidentally, also came against Liverpool, but that was nearly 2 months ago, the 4th of January. All the signs in recent form point towards an Everton result, but it's just never that easy. History is even on Everton's side in this one. In 43 Premier League meetings at Goodison Park, Southampton have only managed one win, and that came in 1997. Everton's current assistant manager, Duncan Ferguson, started up front that game to give a little bit of depth as to how long it's been. And while that would give one fan base confidence, it terrifies me as an Everton fan because it just shows that we are just so capable of Evertoning it up. So all the signs point towards a result for Everton, but when Southampton have got Danny Ings up front, what can we realistically do? That man always scores against us, and he looks like he will be back from injury. He was injured all over the Christmas period, November through to January, on and off, and he looks to be finding his fitness back. He was off the bench against Leeds in midweek, and he got 20 minutes on the end of there, and it looks more likely that he'll be able to play a bigger part in the game against us. Now, while that could be a scary prospect in terms of the numbers he puts up against us, 3 in his last 5, 6 in 10, I think on paper we are his favourite club to play against. Against no other club has he scored more Premier League goals against us, so if that doesn't paint the picture for you, then I don't know what will. But if you look at Everton's side, we also have Dominic Calvert-Lewin coming back. It looks like he could start, probably will start. Alan also back. He might not be fit enough to start, but we'll definitely see him at some point in the game, you'd imagine, a few minutes on the end to see out the game. But Calvert-Lewin being back, I think, is such a boost for Everton. I think Richarlison was great up front, but Calvert-Lewin's goals this season are just so important for us, and him being up front for us is just, he needs to be there for us to get results. And obviously I want him to do well. I'd love to see him up there in the golden boots. It's been a while since we've had anyone pushing for the golden boot, so it's good to have him back. Unfortunately, Yerry Mina won't be available, probably won't be fit for another couple of weeks after the Manchester City injury. And Southampton are also missing a few players. Walcott wouldn't have been available anyway, but he's injured. Kyle Walker-Peters, their starting right back, is injured, which is a benefit in the fact that they don't seem to have a backup right back. Jan Bednarek played at right back against Leeds, who is naturally a centre half, and they brought in Salisu to play centre back. So without a natural right back, it'll nullify their threat on the right a little bit, and also mean that there'll be more avenues to get in the fact that they probably won't have as much speed in the back. Obviously, it benefits them in the fact that they'll be a much bigger threat from set pieces, even before they introduce another centre back. So it's something that Everton are definitely going to have to be wary of. And Armstrong is another who did manage to start against Leeds, so he'll probably be fit. But Romeo is the main one, I think, from that Leeds game. He hobbled off injured. I'm not sure the extent of the injury, but you'd assume they wouldn't be risking him against us. Hopefully, that could be a big boost for Everton, because he's really the anchor of their midfield, and replacing him will be a tough task for anyone in that Southampton team. So what does that mean for the Everton team lineup? I think it all depends on how Ancelotti will play. Depends on who plays at left back. If Lucas Dean plays left back, you assume we'll go for it and really attack Southampton. But if Godfrey plays left back, then we'll probably sit back, which I think people probably won't agree with this, but I think that would be the best option because of the way Southampton play, to soak up the pressure, because they play a high intensity style of football. The way they attack and move up front leaves gaps in behind, and Leeds obviously exploited them in their last game. They got destroyed 3-0, and the goals really started coming in and the chances started being conceded in the second half. They tire in the second half by the way they play, and it's been a story of their season. A season which promised so much, and now it looks like they could end up getting dragged into a relegation battle. In front of the back four, which you would imagine would consist of Keane, Holgate, Godfrey, you'd have Doucouré and Tom Davis. I think it'd be harsh to drop Davis, who's filled in so well for Alan, especially when Alan might not be fully fit. That final central midfield spot could be up for debate, because Gomez, I think, was probably the worst performer against Liverpool. You have that booking, and he looked ropey and a liability for the team. So I don't think he'll start. Sigurdsson could start. He impressed off the bench. I thought he pressed well to neutralise Liverpool, and obviously to take the penalty at the end took some guts, and he won us the game. So I wouldn't be surprised or disappointed to see him start, as long as he puts in a performance like that. The front three, it names itself: James, Richarlison, and hopefully Calvert-Lewin, should he be fit. Now, as I've mentioned, Southampton play a high pressure style of football. The 4-2-2 normally consists of speedy attackers in the front four. They've got Ings, Che Adams, Redmond, Gineppo, all sorts of, even Minamino, who they've recently signed, and he seems to have hit the ground from Liverpool. They've got a number of speedy attackers, which is why I think that our low block could nullify them. If they don't have space in behind, the speedy attackers won't have the space to run into. So while many people might not agree with me, I think it could be the best option to sit back, and then through that the gaps will start to open as they push men forward to try and breach our low block. And we showed against Liverpool how we can attack on the break in the way that we won the penalty, the speed we showed. There's no saying we can't do that to Southampton while keeping their attackers quiet, because we kept Salah and we kept Mane quiet for a full 90 minutes. And we've played better sides than Southampton and we've kept them quiet. I just hope we don't lose our focus from the derby and it turn into one of those complacency games where Everton just throw away a perfect chance to move up in the table and really start to push on European spots. Now, as I mentioned, the set pieces will be an issue. They'll probably have 3 centre-backs starting and Ward-Prowse delivering. So that's something I think Everton will probably be aware of. Ancelotti and his team will be working on that. And I hope that we don't seem as unnatural from set pieces as we have done recently, considering how good we were at the start of the season. Spurs in the Cup recently was a real eye-opener for me in terms of just how poor we seem to have become at defending set pieces. they were such an important part of our game in the early start to the season where we were so good. And it seemed like every time Spurs got a set piece, they could score from it. I was nervous when we conceded a corner every time, and that was without probably the league's best set piece deliverer, Yannick Vestergaard, all like 6'8" of the centre half and or whatever. There's so much size with Ward-Prowse. It's a recipe for disaster, and obviously Ancelotti and his team know better than I do, but they probably will be working to neutralise that threat, because I think that's probably one of the biggest, other than Danny Ings, who will probably get his customary goal against us anyway. I think that's their biggest threat that we need to worry about more than any other. So what would a win mean for Everton? We currently sit 7th in the table as of making this video on 40 points. A win would see us leapfrog Liverpool, and we'd keep our game in hand. They've got Sheffield, which could be a tough match for them. It probably won't be a tough match. So that would see us leapfrog Liverpool, and we'd also draw level with Chelsea. We'd be behind them on goal difference because we've got far less goal difference than anyone around us. It just seems like this is one of those opportunities for Everton where we can make a step up, and we won't. Fulham was a chance and we blew it. West Ham was a big chance to move up in the table and really just put ourselves amongst the sides and around the top 4, and we keep blowing it at home. I think this needs to be the time where we really just smash it and start hitting form at home, because it needs to happen if we want anything from the season to come, especially with the City Cup game coming up. If there was any game I'd want to win, it's that. And the fact that we're drawn at home makes me worry. And I shouldn't worry about that. It should give us hope. So I really hope that with the Liverpool win and Southampton's poor form, it should be a catalyst for change, but it remains to be seen. It's Everton. My prediction, I'm going to go with just a narrow 1-0 Everton win. I think we will sit back. I think Lucas Dean will play just in front of Godfrey at left midfield. James might come into midfield, and I think that would make us solid, and I think we'll just hit on the brake all game with the speed of Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin, Lucas Dean's delivery. I think it will be very effective against Southampton, who leave gaps and look like they start to tire come the second half of games. It is a recipe for Everton to just Everton this up, but surely it has to be a result. It has to be a result. And I've said that, I'll probably look like an idiot when we get smacked 4-0, but what can you do? Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, up the toffees.